Hello, it's been a few weeks since the last one of these, so let's get straight into it. Today is a discussion on should you keep your core tight? Now, this is less of a client question, a community question, and more of a response to a few different sort of conversations and whatever else. There was a client I was working with, and we got them up to do a single leg balance as part of the assessment process. And they were fine on one side, wobbled on the other side. And their comment was, no matter how hard I tighten my core, it's really hard to balance on this leg. And that brings up a few different questions. Playing with the camera angle a bit there. Should you tighten your core? Should you brace your core? Does core tightness help with balance? And that's something that comes up quite a bit in conversation with a lot of different coaches, to be honest, and clients who've trained under different coaches. So core tightness and core strength has been really the sort of, it was the diagnosis du jour for a long time. We tighten your core and that'll solve all your problems. Develop core strength and that will solve all your problems. I don't know if you hear a bit of squeaking behind me. The dog's in with me, playing with a toy. And in Ireland, in the Republic of Ireland, Pilates has become synonymous with physiotherapy. Now, I like Pilates, I'm a fan of Pilates, but I don't believe there's such a thing as a catch-all. There's no one thing, there's no one answer for all problems. So Pilates is great. Pilates does teach core strength, core tightness, but bracing the core, tightening the core, creating tension through the midsection, it is one of the things I would view under the banner of a squat rack rule. So I came up with the term of squat rack rules several years ago through various conversations, I'm sure. There are things that we do, rules that we abide by in the squat rack, in the gym, for safe lifting. These rules don't necessarily play out once you're out in the real world, which is what we train for. Do you know what I mean? Our strength and conditioning is to allow us do stuff out in the real world better. You shouldn't leave your training in the gym. So if you are under a bar doing squats, a couple of kettlebells on the chest, you're doing squats, you're doing some deadlifts, yeah, you're probably going to want to have tension through the core, especially if you're working at the higher intensity, the higher end. If you're just throwing around a tiny kettlebell, you get away with not having it. But as that weight moves up, it becomes a significant portion of your body weight, then yes, absolutely. But let's say we are out on the hills, and maybe we're running in the hills, and we're going to jump down off this rock onto the trail. Are we going to tighten our core, or are we going to just let our body figure it out? We're on the pitch, balls up high, we're going to jump and go for a catch overhead. Are we going to tighten our core, or are we going to let the body figure it out? You're in the ring, boom, 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 bang. Are you tightening your core as you throw your kicks and your punches, as you duck and you weave and you bob? Or are you just going to let your body figure it out? And I'm pretty sure we're all going to agree in those scenarios, you're going to let your body figure it out. So, squat rack rules: brace the core, big chest, shoulders back and down, knees out, blah, 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 blah. They don't really play out in the real world. They are squat rack rules to be abided by in the squat rack. So, reality, our muscles, it's not really fair to say they're slave units, but it's a nice way to think of them sometimes. I often liken them to like the light switch above, the lights above. The lights above my head, these fluorescent tubes, they provide the lighting in this studio, this clinic here. However, there's a light switch over there. If I flick that, lights go off. There's no power gets to them. That switch controls the lights. We may have a dimmer switch, so we can control how much the lights come on and how much the lights go off. You know, from 0 to 100% and back down again, and anything in between. I'll show you. Hold on a sec. You see her? She's playing away there. And we can sort of use that as a very loose, it's not fully correct, it's a loose analogy for how your muscles will work. Your brain, your nervous system will tell the muscles how much to contract by. Can I help you? How much to contract by. And it should do so reflexively in accordance to the task at hand. Conscious muscle contracting, conscious movement, conscious action is too slow. You know, if you've ever played any sport, the speeds that ball will fly at, the speed at which a punch comes at you, it's too fast to genuinely react to a lot of the time. So we predict, don't we? And our body moves on a reflexive action. If I move my head across, if I'm standing and I move my head across, my foot will move to be underneath my head. That stops me falling over. Any judo player will tell you, if I can get your head outside of your foot, I'm probably going to get a takedown, probably going to get a throw. So for balance, especially balance is multifaceted, but balance should be about reflexive muscle action, not about a tight core. And to demonstrate this, I was at a workshop years ago under Gary Ward and Chris Sritharan. It was one of the Anatomy in Motion training courses. This has gone back nearly 10 years now at this stage. And Gary had his laptop and his force plate. And he invited us all to stand on it so that we could see how much our center of mass moves around even when we're standing still. And I invited somebody to stand on it on one leg. I believe they were somebody who was from the core tightness mindset. That was their thing. So, okay, stand on one leg, tight core, and we'll track you. See if you can, we'll do a minute and we'll track you. And you could see the movement, the center of mass on the force plate of the graph later. It was all over the place. It was chaos. He says, right, relax. Gave him a minute or so to sort of chill out. And says, this time you're going to stand on one leg, but you're going to be as relaxed as possible. And if the graph was this wide on the first one, the core tight one, it shrank to this when they relaxed. And that goes hand in hand with what we know, or what I've studied through Qigong and internal martial arts, whereby when you relax and you let your weight sink and you let the muscles relax, your legs start to shake and they get heavy, but that over time you relax further. And what they say is you try and sink a root, your weight sinks down at the ground, you become incredibly stable. Incredibly stable. soon as you tighten up, you can feel yourself lifting almost off the ground, and you're far easier to move. Think of pushing somebody who's stiff versus trying to push your drunk mate, and they're just wobbly, right? Tension is unhelpful for movement and reaction. A tight muscle will have to relax before it can move, before it can contract to create movement. So balance is reflexive. It's multifaceted. It's to do with proprioception. It's to do with your eyes and your vestibular system, as well as the skill of whatever it is you're doing. It's just simply standing on one leg is not, it is balance, but it's not an active balance in a sport such as kicking, wrestling, fighting, walking down a set of steps. Currently outside it's frozen, walking over ice. They're dynamic. That requires proprioception to figure out where your limbs are, and the ability to contract muscles quickly and powerfully, so that's strength, as well as the vestibular system making sure that we're actually somewhat upright. Excuse me. Excuse me. None of it's got to do with holding tension in the system. So, muscle tension is a thing that should happen to generate power, strength and power. Not something we should use as a default. Do you know what I mean? Not something you should use as a default. It happens. It happens enough. You settle down, you. All right? Somebody's getting restless. Will we wrap up this? Will we wrap this up? Will we? We'll get you out. Yeah? Okay. You're going to do the exit thing. Tell the camera. Tell them to like and subscribe. Yeah? Tell them to like and subscribe. And then, if you have any questions or comments on this topic or any other, drop them down below. Throw me an email if you have topics you want to discuss in future episodes. And sure, we'll see you soon. Hope that all helps. Where are you? Where are you? It's a good girl. Ah, you got your toy. Yeah.